Okay.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Shane Williams with The Stand, along with George Porter and, of course, Lance Dobbs, on this fourth day of April. I was going to say August, but...
Don't get ahead of yourself.
I know, right? Fourth day of August 2017. How fast time flies, man. Anyways, a lot to cover this week. Huge amounts of news. Just even more coming out as we're even now talking. So... But today, we have a couple things that we want to cover. We're covering former Secretary Rice recently come out saying that she did surveil Trump. Lance is going to be covering the failing auto industry, and then of course we have George covering PETA's craziness.
Just liberal left-wing insanity.
Right.
My favorite subject.
Right, exactly. Mine too, because then it shows the people the other side of the wall, per se, you know?
Well, it just shows the level of their derangement, that the things that they find worthy of complaint.
Well, not even complaint, what they actually believe is true, you know?
Oh, it's lunacy. It's absolute lunacy. It's just, it's absurd, is the only word for it, is absurd.
Yeah.
So we'll delve into that later. There's little bits and pieces. Hopefully that it'll put a weird smile on your face just to know that the opposition is absolutely nuts.
I'm laughing already, but it's funny, but this is what they call truth at the same time.
Yeah, it's funny like mental illness. They're just crazy.
Absolutely. But before we get, and then also,
not that mental illness is crazy, but I'm just trying to, but yeah, it's just.
Sorry, we like to have fun once in a while. But anyways, and then also a week in review, because this is a weekly show. So much to cover that we'll just do a quick rundown later on. But first, of course, we got a website up, 2.0 I like to call it. That's the standshow.com. I think it looks awesome, guys. What you think? I mean, because
he's a little prejudiced on it.
I had to put a lot of time into that thing, so.
I liked it. It's good. It's one of the best pictures of me taken, so there must be tons of Photoshop on it. So, but it's good. Go check it out. It's a lot of stuff there.
He did highlight George a little bit, so made him look a little good. Pulled out all the gray hairs out of the hair. And...
Wow.
Yeah, like I said, a ton of Photoshop.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll see you after the show.
All right. But anyways, now we have the store directly linked into the website, so now you can just go to there and purchase the products and help support the broadcast. We are viewer and listener supported, so again, blast out that link to everybody, all your families and friends, because we need the support, and we want to start reaching out to hundreds of more people and inform them what's going on. So
it helps spread the word.
Right, exactly.
Spread the word. Just think of it as a good cause.
Right, an investment. So.
Because we don't want to work regular jobs someday.
well, besides that, this truly is become one of our passions, and I can say that I think for all three of us, from the time we first started till now. I mean, we really evolved and grow, and I just hope we can just keep with that momentum. So.
All right. So we're going to go ahead and start off with Shane's segment first this time.
Right.
It's going to be about Secretary Rice.
Exactly. Well, former secretary.
Former Secretary
Right.
Rice.
She was part of the National Security Administration during the Obama years. And pretty much she just recently came out and said, yeah, we were spying on Trump the entire time.
Yes, but on the 23rd, she was on NPR and she claimed that she knew nothing about it, but now she's...
Exactly.
So, again, the Obama administration can't seem to keep their story straight, so...
well, at first, yeah, she was like, well, I don't know anything about it, or...
It was a surprise to her.
Yeah, it came out that she's like, oh yeah, I did do the surveillance and get the stuff from him, but I didn't give it to anybody.
Right.
And they claim they didn't do it for political purposes.
I mean,
there's
come
nobody's buying that. It's
No.
it's all for political purposes.
Of course.
And if it was reversed, if it had been a Republican surveilling a Democrat, the rendering of garments, the pulling of hair, the screaming. You think the snowstorm was bad? They'd have had. It would have. It almost would have been worth it to have it happen just to watch them just pull themselves apart. But yeah.
I mean, they're doing it now.
Yeah, so I
they're
mean,
not really doing anything.
But my point is that
Right.
again, liberals, hypocrisy at its finest.
Right, exactly. So it's more than just Trump himself. It's also people within the organization. It's also people that he contacted through phone calls and everything else. And so when Comey, what was it, 2 weeks ago now, 2-3 weeks ago, when he was up on the hearing trial or whatever, he basically said that no, it wasn't me, and he was accurate. It wasn't him, but he did know knowledge of it.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. So he did know knowledge of it. It just he stated the facts. It wasn't directly him or his organization was doing it. It was actually people within higher than him. You know. So
If I was Trump, I would just ask Comey for his resignation. Tell him it's time.
And you're right. He does.
He's got to go. He's got to go. Whether you'll. It's funny because between the Benghazi thing, the email thing, everything that's happened over the last year and a half with him,
right?
He has sided one way the entire way. He has
really just caused more trouble than he's worth. I mean, he doesn't know anything. You can't comment on that, but I can comment on this. She did this.
And it's very vague when he does comment.
He's vague, but I can't tell if he's a partisan hack or if he's just incompetent at this point. I don't know what to expect from him next. So I think it's time to get a whole different FBI director.
Right, exactly.
Just a new guy.
I mean, we already got a brand new CIA director. You know, Trump got rid of what was his name, Clapper, before in a heartbeat.
Then he got rid of the whole. He got rid of the ICE guy.
Yeah.
He got rid of.
Yeah, because you don't want to follow.
I don't know why he's favoring Comey at this point. I don't know why.
I think he's trying to turn him. It seems like.
You know what? No,
but you can't turn these people. Once they go down this path, man, there's no coming back.
A Democrat, unless some traumatic event changes their mind, they're never going to work and play well with others.
Right.
At least not with Republicans. So, I think it'd be in the administration's best interest to just ask Comey to quietly pack his things and go and find a new director. That way, I don't know, maybe it's just such a rat's nest of confusion at the FBI that they can't. Maybe
they don't even know what's going on.
Yeah, I don't know if they know what's going on and they're hiding things, or they're
right.
like I said, or they're just incompetent. I'm confused by the FBI.
I think they're confused with themselves too, so they might be on the same boat. But as the Bloomberg report that came out yesterday goes on stating all this, it's just a massive thing that they were collecting all this information on and making files, making notes, and of course it was to see if he was going to run for president because the rumors were speculating and everything, and so they wanted to actually look in deeper to see if he was actually, like I said, going to run for president, which he ended up doing and winning. So they just tried to use every tactic they can to try to stop the opposition.
But here's the funny thing. I was thinking about this today with all this. Okay, let's just assume that the FBI or not the FBI, but the NSA and everybody, they've been tracking Trump this last 6 months because of the election. That the Obama administration had essentially an inside to Trump's organization.
Right.
They knew who they were talking to. They knew what they were talking about. They could follow them and watch them, and they knew all this. And yet they still managed to lose the election.
Isn't that amazing?
If I had a microphone in your house, I'm pretty sure I could manipulate it to the point to my advantage. So they obviously had an end to the Trump organization, but they couldn't. They didn't see the loss coming at them.
They also had the DNC working with Hillary's campaign directly.
Yeah, well, that just goes to show that Democrats should not run the country. That just proves right there. It just occurred to me. This is absolute proof why the Democrats should never be in charge again. With all the resources that they had, with all the knowledge, the money,
right,
and everything that they did, they still managed to lose.
They have the Soros backing. They got the Bezos
That's what I'm saying.
backing.
All the money in the world, and they still can't win.
You want to know why they can't win? Because most of the people don't agree with their policies.
Right.
Only about, I think it's 13 to 15% of the population identifies as a liberal.
But then why does it seem like they're the majority?
Because the news media does it. The news media makes...
They're the ones that are getting paid.
The good example is, until just recently, how many transgendered people did you ever hear about? To listen to the news media, every other person is transgender.
That's what it seems
so
like.
So that's what they do. They blow it out of proportion. They make us think we are the minority as far as the way we think and feel. They blow everything up. That's just their mindset is to make us feel like we're alone. and that we
Right.
have no way of succeeding because we're outnumbered by all the things that we might disapprove of or not know about. It's the media. That's just their job, is to explode disinformation on everything, and to just constantly tell us, well, you're a lunatic because you don't feel like all these other people feel, and in reality it's reversed. There's 1% of the population is transgender, the rest of us are not, and they make it feel like we're the 1%.
Right, exactly.
I don't need. They're like 0.001% or something, but
You know,
it's
it's not enough to write laws for. We don't make rules for the exception.
We make rules for the majority.
All right.
so.
But-
Another thing that about the Secretary Rice thing was CNN came out and said don't listen to the stories.
Well, that was Don Lemon.
Don Lemon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard
Yeah.
a little clip from him, and he's just, it's not true. Don't listen to it. It's not true.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
this-
what
this-
happened to the news? Just telling the way it is,
Not
that it
Chinese.
is, and then now they're forcing it as a directive now. Don't listen to it. Can't listen to it. We're the authority.
Remember what she said? I can't think of who it was that said it.
On
but,
the Morning
The
it
Joe.
was on the Morning
MSNBC,
Joe. It's just,
yeah.
it's not the job of the president to tell people what they think. It's our job.
Right.
So that's their mindset. They think it's their job to tell us how things really are, according to them.
Right. And then their site. I mean, it's just
It is. A person could go nuts trying to keep track and fall. I don't know why more people don't just admit themselves to
Mental institution?
Yeah, because it's insane to follow them.
Well, that should be Nancy Pelosi and Maxine Waters, because one has no idea where she's at, and the other one thinks that Russia's invading Korea. So, I don't know. But anyways, you have also what is it, Congressman Nunes? I think he's a congressman, right? Anyways, Nunes now, I think he's validated that these leaks aren't from the Russians.
I don't know if he's a congressman. But
Yeah, I think
know
he's a
like
Senator.
House Intel.
Right.
Yeah, he's the chairman of the House Intel Committee.
Right, exactly. So
And they want him to recuse himself because
he's probably colluding with the
Well,
Russians.
they came out and said he's now working with the Trump team who works with Russia. So he
So
must
by
be
proxy,
working,
he's working for the Russians. We should just tell everybody now, we are actually, the three of us are working for the Russians. We're in collusion with the Russian government, and that's why we do this.
Yeah.
Not.
Well, I mean, just the whole narrative saying that the Russians wanted Trump to win for their benefit. His whole slogan was "Make America Great." I don't think "Make Russia
Make
Great
Russia
Again."
great
But I don't see, they always say look to who gains to find the motive. But I don't see how Russian gains that would gain if Trump won, as
Especially
opposed
now
to
with
Hillary.
the coal thing that he just passed. That hurts Russia
Exactly.
because
I don't
we
know-
sell all the coal to
Well,
Russia.
again, we're talking about liberals and Democrats who don't have to have logic behind them in their argument. They just have to have an argument.
Just cry wolf until something catches.
They just stir the pot, and they're just unhappy people. I've never met a liberal that was happy.
You haven't?
No, not really. They always get something to complain and gripe about, and they're never really truly happy. Think about it. To them, the world is ending.
All the time.
My
It's like-
car runs and emits exhaust, therefore the world is
So
coming
you're
to an end.
burning a hole through the
I'm,
ozone, George.
I'm killing everyone with my car. Actually, I have a hybrid, but but yeah,
It's
that's
still producing CO2 emissions.
Well, that's why they want to impose carbon tax on us
Yeah.
to
They're
That's
just
why
negate
Elon
that.
Musk is winning in the vehicle wars.
no. He's winning because he gets subsidies from the government like no one's ever seen.
Right.
He's
Man.
like, I'll produce like 10,000 cars, gives out like 2,000. All right, next year it'll be 20,000. Now it's still 3,000.
But the
It's all-
funny thing about the electric car, no one ever seems to take into account the giant batteries that have to be disposed of
Yes.
at some point that are more polluting than fossil fuels.
I mean, they're lithium, right? If I'm not
Lithium,
mistaken.
I believe so.
What does lithium do?
I don't know, but it can't be good for the environment. Hey, I'm not a scientist.
It doesn't break well. Doesn't break down well. That's all. And so it just sits there and it just rots and it just spews out. This is pretty much
I think we need to get into the lithium recycling business because I think there's going to be a business for it pretty soon.
well, I
Probably
mean,
at some point. Yeah.
right, exactly. All right, so pretty much everybody's a Russian according to the left, and they're still
No, working for the Russians.
well working. Yes.
No,
Colluding.
colluding.
Colluding is
The hot term.
I would really like to go a week and not hear the word colluding. Wouldn't that be nice?
Or
Just-
someone's working with the Russians.
Yes, just not hear about the word collusion, colluding, or any.
So hopefully hopefully ends it with the whole Russian agenda with the whole left. Hopefully it ends it. I don't think so. I think they're still gonna keep on
They're
with the
never
whole
gonna let it go.
Everybody's a Russian, working with the Russian thing.
So did you want to throw in the what
Oh,
Russia and
just-
China did this week?
Yeah, I'll throw that in there. So pretty much what they've done, they have now went back to the gold standard instead of the
Well,
petrodollar.
not fully yet. They're
They're
planning
thinking
on
about it. But if they do, Lance, I mean, you're pretty a smart guy. What would this do?
So their whole thing to go back to the gold standard is they're going to cut their currencies out, and then the gold standard will become the main world currency again, and so it'll undermine the U.S. dollar.
Unless, of course, we went to the gold standard
Unless
also.
we went with them too.
Right.
But look what China's done. They went from a country who not too long ago I used to see film and videos from them. They all rode bicycles. Now they're dictating world economy
Yeah.
and currency.
And pushing the whole globalist
And
agenda
that's,
as well.
That's one of the things that Trump called them, was like they are a currency manipulator.
He's been saying it since day one. They're
And they
a
are.
currency manipulator.
And for them to go with Russia to like it's probably number 2 or number 3 currencies in the world and form a gold standard.
Well, then shouldn't that affect our trade with them also? I mean,
yeah.
in some sense,
It's
we
gonna
won't
affect
be
everything.
able to trade with them because
Our
we
dollar
won't,
dollar is going to be weaker.
our dollar will be. So shouldn't that hurt them? Because we won't be able to buy stuff from China like we do now.
It will hurt U.S. more than it will China.
Right.
Well,
'Cause
yeah.
we get all the manufacturing.
I don't think China worries too much about its people and their suffering.
No.
I'm,
I mean, when you can't barely see your hand in front of your
See,
face.
They want to go back to the gold standard for the raw materials to get the more worth out of it and the precious
right.
metals.
So they go back to the metals, and go back to the basics, and it benefits them. Whereas, yeah, I guess if they do it, it'll be trouble. But we'll have to see how Trump handles it.
Well, Russia's already on board with them, so
Yeah, but it's going to be a tough one for them to
Pull
off because
Yeah.
they still got a lot of paper money out there also. Now, I'd heard India had outlawed large denomination bills, which might be a step towards that kind of activity. I don't know. That kind of stuff is way beyond my, my. I can't get my head around it, but it's going to be trouble.
it's just another form of war.
It is. All of it is. Diplomacy is just
economic war. That's all.
Diplomacy is just war around a dinner table.
Isn't that the truth? But anyways, yeah. So it's just a lot of things going on with Russia and China now. Ultimately, if they do go through with this, it's going to spell disasters for us in the long end. That's why, for myself, I'm stocking up on silver just in case something might happen. So.
Just so you know, I only know it because I happen to see this. Current silver is currently at $18.08 the spot price.
Good.
So
Good for me.
it depends on when you bought it. If you bought it at 15 or 20,
Yeah.
And I think gold is still at its all-time highest.
it's
right now.
1280, I think, right now.
Still hovering at the top.
Anyways, just crazy. So we'll move on.
All right, so
Excuse me.
I will go ahead and dive into what's happening with the auto industry and where that's going. So they posted like the quarter one, all the quarter one charts and stuff like that from the auto industry. OEM, George, what does that mean again?
Original equipment manufacturer.
So the OEMs for every single car industry that is in America and just imported all fell. None of them hit their target except for one, except for Nissan.
Wow.
Really?
So
And who shot up at the top?
I'll just go over what their year-to-year change in sales were. GM, their estimated was probably going to be a 7% rise in year-to-year, but it only hit 1.6. Ford, they thought their estimate was going to be a negative 5.9%. So they were already expecting a huge hit this year.
But it
from
was
last
even
year.
bigger.
But yeah, it was negative 7.2%.
Oh, that's gotta hurt.
Fiat Chrysler was only expecting a 0.5% increase from year to year, but fell 5%, so negative 5%. All of them currently are still at their highest levels at inventory. So from 2000 and like I think, let me check it right here. From 2008, it was at its lowest point, and then it shot all the way up to 2009 with the Cash for Clunkers program, because that's when they got a whole bunch of vehicles in, and so they got their incentives to get rid of them and get the tax cuts back from them, and then it jumped all the way back down, and then just climbed to where it's all the way at right now, which is at its highest level ever.
So what does that mean, say, for you and me then?
So, if you go to a car dealership, they're offering the most incentives they have been in the last decade, because they just have so many cars. So, if we were to go, they have a lot of incentives for us right now. But the thing is, they will have probably bigger and more incentives later, just because they have so much inventory.
Right. So
And-
that means pretty much all of our all the cars right now are going to be sold for cheap then, right? So I can probably walk into a used car dealership and probably get something.
Something for one of the best deals you can get in the last 10 years if you're buying a car.
Wow.
But if you probably wait like 1 or 2 more years, you'll probably even have a better deal, because all the prices are just going to crash
So I should trade in my hybrid here pretty soon.
pretty soon.
For a monster truck.
Yeah, you can pretty much get.
The old days.
But
You
yeah,
could afford to drive a pickup.
so let me go ahead and. But yeah, so on Zero Hedge, they have just tons of articles going over all the different graphs and the articles you can read. They have another title here is the auto industry is about to drive off a cliff again, because it's already done this once before.
Right, exactly. But
Back in 2007.
right. But the difference now, Lance, is do they have the bailout like they did
So right now,
2007 or 2008?
I mean, the cars have the bailouts still. The car manufacturers, they still have the bailouts themselves. But the thing is, the whole thing with the 2007 crash was the banks bailing out or getting bailed out because they failed on the housing loans.
Right.
Like I think we talked about this one of the first times we were actually in here was the banks. Trump was going to try to put in a thing to where the banks can't get bailed out by taxpayer money again.
That's exactly what I was trying to bring up. Exactly.
Well, we should stop bailing out companies. I mean, we just shouldn't. When a company fails, they've made a tragic mistake and should pay the cost.
So
And
if
it
you're
would
saying
give
like,
birth to another auto manufacturer.
Well, if somebody can build a better mousetrap, they will.
That's what I'm saying.
so I know like one of the big three like GM, Ford, and Chrysler are already cutting cars. I think like the Dodge Dart or something like that.
Right.
They cut production on that.
And then the Chevy Cruze as well, correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
the Chevy Cruze, they cut production on that like way back because they just running out of money basically because they're making bad mistakes.
Well, and then there you go. So now if the auto industry, can barely bail itself out, I mean, we could possibly face another 2007, right?
I don't know if it'd be that bad. It'd just be the auto industry, but I mean, retailers overall are taking a hit. We heard today that Payless Shoe Source is closing 10% of their stores.
Right.
Sears is
Do you
going
know how
under.
much that 10% is?
I'm sorry.
I said Payless.
Yeah, I think it was 10%. They have 4,000 stores and they were shutting down 400. I think
Yeah,
that's
Was it
10%.
4,000? Because I think they bumped that, or they bumped that number from 400 to 1,000.
Oh well, I heard this earlier in the week, so
Right. It could change.
It could change. But and there was a couple other who was it? Who closed their flagship in New York? We were discussing this a little bit ago. I can't. Ralph Lauren.
Ralph Lauren,
closed
right.
Their
Fifth
flagship store
Avenue.
in Fifth Avenue.
Yeah.
And that you'd think that'd be the one they keep open to the end because that's
No.
where all the money is.
No.
But it must be
Rent
very
is too
expensive
high.
to keep a store there.
Yeah, they say New York is like losing tons of retail.
Oh, wonder why.
Tough
So-
times. But anyways,
But yeah, all of this combined together ultimately is what forms and causes the crashes. So
right, and then also this spring, housing markets up at its highest. It's pretty much right now hardest to buy a house during the spring. So we got that as well.
Well, that's been hard to buy a house for years.
But now more than ever, And so now if we have the retail market failing and then also the auto
the industry
manufacturers,
is going to come down.
that means people can't pay their mortgages. So that means what?
Just more trouble.
Nobody can pay off their house. And so it's 2007 creeping up on us all over again.
And
So-
you can go on the internet and find all the different like car industry articles. Like there's another one for the Detroit Free Press Detroit Free Press where it's like all falling car sales. They're saying like in March car sales only accounted for 39% of its total industry sales. So it's just all falling.
And it'll continue to fall.
Well, everything in the last 10 years has been overregulated, propped up. It's in a bubble. I mean, it's bound for things to collapse once we stop taking care of it. When the government gets its hand out of everybody's pocket and gets off their back, the market forces will take over.
Well, the regulations need to be lifted off our own people, so the small businesses can come up and start growing. That's pretty much what made us to what, how we came to be in this country, is because of the small businesses.
Well, small businesses that are successful tend to become big businesses.
Right, exactly. But, the more and more small businesses that there are, the money starts to flow, so.
So I'll just read a couple numbers. So since last year, Toyota's car sales have tumbled 9.9%. Sales of the SUVs, crossovers, and pickup trucks increased 5.5%, reflecting a record March, but their total sales are down about 10%. Honda's stalwart lineup of cars also suffered in March as consumers continue to flock into the bigger vehicles. Car sales fell 8.7% for them. Nissan's car sales suffered considerably, falling 15.4% in sales.
This is nuts, man. Well, I think the rise of the SUV and trucks, I think people are finally catching on to, hey, maybe I need something to escape the city just in case, That's my frame of thought, But you never know. It could be something totally different. I wouldn't know. But for me, I think SUV or truck would be the optimal.
Well, that's the only things that are increasing in price right now, but everything else is coming down.
Right. So anyways, again, folks, before we get into our next segment, take a look at our new site, thestandshow.com 2.0, and you'll be able to find out more about us. You'll find out more about how we created the show. Also, we have the Facebook feed on there for the time being to take place of our archive for the time being. We're gathering all the videos now, and then we're going to be posting it on there, so it's not entirely you have to go to YouTube or Facebook to check out our videos. We'll have it one centralized place, thestandshow.com. You can check that out, and again, share that website, share this Facebook link, and then also there's links for our Twitter and YouTube page as well. So make sure you check that out and tell your friends.
And there's a really good photo of me there. It's worth it just to go see that.
Because seeing you live is not the real...
That's not, it really, you don't want to see me live.
They are. But anyways, before we start getting into the next segment, just do a quick rundown of week's top news real quick. Excuse me.
Well, something of interest, and we talked about this months ago, actually. We did that quote from Putin, who said that if the Muslims did anything in his country, he'd wipe them all out, or something to that effect.
Right.
Well, as we all know, there was a subway bombing in Moscow this week. So we'll see how that pans out. We'll see what kind of action that Putin takes. I think it was probably strategically, it was probably a bad move on the extremist point, because I don't think Putin is handcuffed by political correctness or anything like that, like we are here.
He was kicked out of NATO and the UN, and
right.
Yeah, so I don't really think he's going to worry about world opinion if he feels like dealing with this. Maybe it's something so minor he won't deal with it. Maybe he'll just use it as an excuse to invade some country. Time will tell. But I thought it was very, that was a big deal that happened.
It was.
They said it was a Russian guy that was born in Russia, though.
Yes,
in the beginning, and when the reports first came out.
He's a jihadist.
Right.
He was a Russian Muslim.
Yes. So but see, that just goes to show it's got nothing to do with Russians or Americans. It's jihadists versus everybody who's not a jihadist.
Right, exactly. If you don't adopt their way of culture or anything else like that, it's how dare you, how dare you not put a bag over your head, or you be thrown off a roof if you're gay, it just, I shouldn't say gay, homosexual, but it's just the absurdity of the left, trying to protect this type of culture. I mean, what have we come to? I mean, Europe is being flooded by mass immigration. The culture is being wiped out. Which what was it? Erdogan of Turkey said that we're going to be taking over your
Well, there was an article
country anyways.
There was an article that came out this week in France, right?
Right.
Do you have that one on?
No, I don't have that one up.
Well, the thing about you're wondering why we have trouble dealing with the jihadists. It comes down to this: the left helps the jihadists because any enemy of America is their friend, because they're the anti-Americans in our country. If you look back through history, of just the last 30, 40 years, anybody who opposes us, the left favors.
That's true.
Cuba, the Russians up until just recently. Ted Kennedy went to Russia during the 80s, and actually they found this out because the KGB released some paperwork.
Yes.
Ted Kennedy actually went to Moscow to speak to their government to tell them, I want to work with you because Reagan's a renegade. He wanted to work against his own government. So the left is the anti-American crowd.
Right.
If you don't like America, they're on your team. And they've proved it time and time again. I mean, just in every aspect of their life. I mean, if they're not trying to control us, they're trying to defeat us in the world.
Right, of course, and they're excelling, especially in Europe. But anyways, switching gears, with Washington's blessing.
Go over some of that, just that.
Yeah, Washington's blessing telecom. I think I covered this last week, but this is pretty major news. That they're able to mine your web history, which means they can go into all your files and everything and find out what you've been searching for, what you've been looking at, etc., and build a profile on you. Now, what the article is saying from the Wall Street Journal is that they use it to try to use it as a consumer-based search. So, say that you're looking for equipment, for a radio show. Then they'll try to gear Google ads towards your whole thing. But they're going through your whole web history, not just through the history that you're searching for certain products.
Well, the things that Trump is either enacted or he signed today, I'm not sure which it was, but basically he said that up until today, Google and Facebook were the only ones that could mine your data for advertising. All this new I don't know if it's an executive order or not, but what they're doing now is that they're allowing Verizon to do it. They're just allowing everyone to do it now. At least they're leveling the playing field.
Right.
Now, do I think that Verizon's going to data mine my browser history to see what sites I go to or to get some dirt on me? No. Do I think they want to know if I'm looking up radio equipment or fishing equipment so that they can gear advertising towards me? That's fine. We've been doing that for years. The TV's just done it because they're like, okay, this demographic that watches the show will like these products. That's all they're doing. But all they've done now is they've taken away the monopoly that Facebook and Google had on mining your data.
Right, exactly. But then, according to CISPA, they're able to sell that information to the government or give it to the government with no backfire from the people. All the terms and agreements that you agree to, ladies and gentlemen.
Which nobody reads.
Exactly, and just click, I just want to do whatever I want, boom. So you click agree, and then that's pretty much what it is. These third-party sites are able to, get your information from actual apps or whatever it may be, internet on your phone or computer.
Yeah, so basically, it's called an ISP. He signed into the law today, and it is a law that blocks the implementation of privacy laws that would protect internet customers' data from being sold without their permission.
Yeah,
I'm sure we give that permission in that terms and agreement.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. Now
But
it's
the
just
thing is,
officially the law. I don't really particularly like that.
If you go to another site, Google can still see that, and so they can sell that information that you went to that site
To them.
to whoever.
I see.
Yeah.
So now the thing is with this law is you can go to that site, and Google can't sell that information from if you went to that site.
I don't know. I'm a big fan of privacy. I don't like people digging into my crap. You know, it's my personal information. You know, whatever I want to look up. You know, it's for me. It's not for you. You know.
It's basically he signed into law.
Yeah, I don't like that.
The sites that you go to are the ones that have your information that can sell that information to other people.
Yeah, no.
Instead of just everybody can have it free.
I mean, it's a digital version of going into, I don't know, let's say Staples and signing up for their rewards card,
Yeah.
and then you get 6 emails a day from them for the rest of your life, and
It's-
they sell that information to other people. It's just a digital version of that, and I don't think there's anything malicious about it. No, I don't want everybody knowing what websites I go to. Nobody does. I mean.
Well, it's like when you're on
It-
Yahoo
it-
and you go through the
right.
list and like Amazon stuff pops up or
Yeah.
like other sites pop up. It's
Well,
just
If you look up skateboards and then you go to another site
There's
or
a
go to
picture
your
of a
just to your,
skateboard, hey.
skateboards come up. That's just a mechanism they use to
Yeah,
try
it's
to keep
the
you involved.
algorithms, right? It's the algorithms that they put in place.
I don't think there's an actual person there keeping track of, well, he went to a motorcycle site and then he went to this site and then he went to, they're just doing it because they're trying to it's just a little bit of capitalism in the digital world. Yeah, I'm not crazy about it, but I think it's the way of the world now that when you go to a site, they're just going to know it.
Right.
So just be cautious of what sites you go to. Go to the
Yeah.
library if you need to go do something nefarious.
Anyways, you have the Putin spokesman saying that fake news is and the whole Russian agenda is possibly going to hurt relations between us and the United States, and it's really going to affect us by just constant the whole Russian narrative saying that they hacked us, but when actually, according to Vault 7 and other sources, is saying that it's actually us that we're able to go in and imitate people who are from possibly Russia and Iran and China, but it's actually us. We discussed that last week, and so now it's possibly going to hurt relations to try to mend things between us and the Russians. You have the EU leader warns Trump about Brexit. You support Brexit, and he'll try to break up the United States. Now, this guy, after
I
doing
heard this. This guy's
after doing some research, this Juncker Yahoo, his family is one of the back in the day was one of the highest next to Hitler in the families. Anyways, thanks. This Juncker guy, his family in World War II was like Hitler's right-hand man, and now he's top of the EU, and now he's threatening the United States pretty much. You keep supporting this Brexit thing, and we're going to try to infiltrate and break up the United States, and it's just like this garbage who's unelected top leader in the EU, and now everybody wants to break apart from it because of the stuff that's going on. You have Le Pen getting in. Soon she's the president, for president nominee for France. You did have the Netherlands, even though he lost, he was pretty much the same thing as like a Donald Trump. And you just see this rise of nationalism happening across the world, and the globalism really is on its toes, on its,
well, all these
holding on to dear life, pretty much.
all these European leaders and bigwigs that talk like that. I don't really pay attention to them, mainly because it's the prattling of it. It's a temper tantrum. He's over there. That I'm going to break up the United States. Well, good luck with that. Talk to California. They're already talking about it too. It's all nonsense. It's just him wagging his tongue, trying to make trouble. He wants to be on the news, and he had accomplished.
Right, exactly.
But it means nothing. That kind of stuff. They're again. It's the snowflakes. It's the children who are upset that dad's come home and is running the house again. And they're just stomping their feet and acting like babies. And I don't even hear it. I don't even hear it.
Right, exactly.
It's meaningless.
I hear you. So going on, Zero Hedge just came out with an article a couple days ago saying that the NSA is really nothing in comparison to the National Geographical Agency, or the NGA, who is more digging into your information than the actual NSA is. So you
The
had
NSA is just people that gather it and store it.
right. So these people are actually look. These are the ones who actually look and
They're probably the ones that look into the NSA stuff.
exactly who break down, analyze, and make you a statistic with all the data that they're collecting out in the Utah Center, that massive multi-million-dollar facility out there collecting all your data from phone calls, messages, emails to anything that you look at. So they're just trying to build profiles on everybody and try to do all that stuff. China is very loving. They ban beards and and garbage bags on your heads. Pretty much targeting the Muslims community, and but that's okay for them to do it. But if it was here in America, if they were able to do that here, you imagine the backlash and what's so loving about this article comes from the Clinton News Network. So even they have to report on this.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, to compare China and the United States when it comes to something like that it's not right. First off, China thinks it can ban beards and burqas because, well, they're a totalitarian government. We don't ban burqas and beards. We just say that if you're going to live here, you got to be a decent citizen. It's got nothing to do with your facial hair or your wardrobe. That's why we don't ban those things. That's why we don't focus on that. We focus on the fact that you're an American citizen and you want to be a good citizen and be a productive member of society, or you're a bad guy. Now, if all the bad guys got beards, that just helps us figure out who they are. I'm not going to. They couldn't do it. I would fight that if they tried that here. That's against what America stands for. If I want to walk around with a mohawk with little tiny flags on it, which they used to do in the 80s, that's my right. If they want to wear burqas, go ahead.
No, I got no problem.
You want to have your beard, no mustache, to make respect to your religious belief, that's fine. All I ask is that you be a decent American citizen.
Right, exactly.
That's the bottom line.
But who else did this was France. When I was stationed over in Germany, I was there when they passed a law saying that no burqas were allowed.
Well, see, the thing is, if you use the burqa to hide your identity, or if you do something, if you use that freedom against us, yeah, you run the risk of losing some form of it. Right. I mean, I know there was a big thing about women getting their driver's license and keeping their burqa on it, and the net for their eyes. Yeah, you can't identify somebody that way.
True.
I mean, we used to hear rumors that what's his name, Osama bin Laden, was traveling around in a burqa to pass as a woman so that no one would know it was him. Of course, I guess he was like 6'5". It was hard to pass him off as a woman, but
unless he was just punched over. But it just goes to show that certain countries are loving enough to where and they want to claim that they want to be the leaders of this whole globalization project that's so evil, that's so terrible, that it's okay for them. And then we look up to China now, America does, that that whatever they do, they're just, China, they're so wonderful.
Not so much. Trump has pretty much changed that course.
Before. And folks, I'm not against Muslims or anything. I'm just against the radical portion of it, where they want to force burqas and everything else over women. And if they don't, it's like Sweden, they get raped and killed all over the place. That's not hitting the news again, But
I think it comes down to one thing. If the Irish Republican Army, which was still in play and was causing terrorist acts, I'd be against them. Right. If the Red Brigade was still committing terrorist acts, I'd be against them. If it's Muslim, if it's the key word is terrorist. That's all it is. I don't care where you're from. If you're a terrorist, you should be removed from society.
Right, exactly.
It has nothing to do with all the other precursors, your hairstyle, your clothing. It has to do, are you a terrorist and are you trying to undermine the fabric of this society that provides the freedoms for you to work in it and function.
Yeah, I agree.
It's the double-edged sword of this country. That's the thing we have to put up with, because we are a free society. We are free to be taken advantage of by the people who don't like us.
Right, exactly. Hillary's back. She's officially back. She didn't wait too long. I don't know why she didn't wait longer. Bill Maher was sort of fed up with her. I'm not going to repeat exactly.
We can't repeat what he said,
but he's pretty much, why'd you come out of the woods? You should have stayed there.
Yeah, I have to say, I don't agree with Bill Maher on much. I do agree with him on his stance on Muslim terrorists and Hillary Clinton coming back into the public view. He basically, and I'll try to soften it up for everybody. He basically said, "Go back to where you came from. You
lost twice.
You lost twice. You're not a good representative of the party. Just go away.
Just go away." Yeah, that pretty much sums it up.
And then they asked if Chelsea was going to run in 2020, and she said no.
Oh, good. We've all dodged that bullet.
Yeah, I know, right? Now I'm probably going to get a lot of flack from these two, but anyways, I'm going to say it anyways.
What is it?
There's a couple articles that were saying there's a couple of light bursts that are happening inside multiple solar systems outside our galaxy. Possibly a signal from outer space.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly. And then also Australia is working on discovering a ninth planet within our solar
What was that
system.
last one again? Just touch on it a little bit more. You said a light burst?
Yeah, light bursts coming from other
What
galaxies.
is that light burst?
That's possible signals coming from a different galaxy.
And where do those signals come from?
It says here that probably in the, I can't pronounce it, but the Puppis galaxy and by the Cancer. By the.
What's the article headline there?
This one's from Daily Mail. It says, "Are aliens trying to contact Earth?" So.
Trying to contact us. I look around. I think they're already here.
I think they are too. So, and it's just we really don't touch on the space and the phenomenal discovery that they're making with Kepler and everything, the multiple galaxies that can harbor life, along with planets and the moons that are around these planets. So, also, and it's just. While that's happening in space, we're making great discoveries. The reason why we really truly hit on politics is because that is really the thing that affects your life, and it's really the thing that you can change. So we come to inform you with more politics geared just because of that. So,
so what's this one?
You have Jeb Bush saying that warns robots will be taking U.S. jobs, but then at the other hand, you have the head of GM saying, "Oh, don't worry. We're not here to take your jobs with the robots."
There was another one on top of that where like a California lawmaker was like, "I want to put a tax on all robots."
Right, exactly. So
I'll just say, if robots take over our jobs, I think you need to learn how to repair robots.
That's
if they do that, go ahead, tax robots. That's just taxing the company that makes the robots or employs the robots, whatever that might be. So. They got some strange views on the world. They want to any companies that do work for the wall. They want to make it illegal for them to do business in California.
Yes, I read that. You're right.
That go right ahead. That's not stopping anybody.
Well,
There's more money in that wall than there is in California.
Mexico said you're a traitor if you're going to work for the wall for Mexico.
Even though it's creating jobs for them.
I don't know. I still have this problem with people getting upset that we want to lock our doors. It's like I said, it's like if I go to somebody's house next door and go, "Why do you lock your door?" That offends me. How come I can't just walk in your door and sit in your living room?
It's a perfect example. I was on Facebook, the ghettos of Facebook, and you, as Matt Drudge clearly stated, it's a great term that he made up. So in the Facebook ghettos, I saw this post saying that, I can't believe people who follow along with this wall agenda, and I replied, just basically what you stated. Do you not know why the Great Wall of China was made? Do you not know why you lock your door at night or your car or,
Now, granted, the locked front door is only designed to keep the honest people out, but I lock my front door because it's my right.
It's your right, exactly. To keep people out of your house, You don't want people just walking in and out.
Sneak into your house, you have other rights.
Exactly.
Anyway.
All right.
But anyways, time to get into the
humor portion of our show.
Kind of, but it just it outlines what these people think.
Well, it's examples of their insanity. We've all experienced liberals and the snowflakes screaming and saying crazy things on camera. and there's no shortage of it. And actually, the hardest thing is trying to find stories that aren't outrageously normal for them. The one I have here, I have several. One of the ones I wanted to bring up, everybody. This is again from Heat Street by Ian Chong. PTA shenanigans vary from the absurd to the downright offensive, from likening rape survivors to pigs and cows to calling Pokemon a form of animal cruelty. I don't understand that at all, but anyway.
Pokemon.
Yeah, is animal cruelty. Anyway.
Real quick about Pokemon. So it was created by an autistic dude. I forgot what his name was, but he was autistic, and he made these animals because he was, autistic. So he created this Pokemon fantasy to try to help his autism.
But they're not real.
But they're not real, exactly. He created them, from his little...
But you're still hurting creatures.
It's a digital image of something.
Hey, if you're doing it in a video game, you must be doing it in real life, right?
Oh, so
course,
it's
simulation. If I play a computer game where I'm shooting other vehicles or blowing up stuff in my computer game, I want to do it in the real world.
It's all simulation then.
PETA's efforts to save the animals always makes headlines, and with good reason. They are completely absurd. This I think by far tops. This is I don't even know. We'll just say this is hard for people to stomach. The animal rights group today released a new video to cry over milk, equating the nutritious drink with Nazism.
Yes, absolutely.
Following the rise in Trump derangement syndrome,
they need to color that milk right now.
The progressive left's hysteria over white supremacism. PETA states, "Did you know that milk has long been the symbol used by white supremacists?" I don't even know what to say to that. It's just so asinine. It's an alternative fact accompanied by an equally ludicrous video, which is the greatest word for them, which they published on social media. They call milk the neo-Nazi drink of choice, stating that it has long been a symbol used by white supremacist groups as a thinly veiled allegory for racial purity.
So, on. So
I have to call BS on that. Nobody's that dumb.
No. So we say when the KKK at their rallies, right? They just pour out a bunch of milk.
They serve milk. They don't serve Budweiser or Coors. They serve milk. Not that the Budweisers or Coors are the beer of KKK. That's kind of what we
laugh, but this is truly, that they're trying to make the attack on the white people.
It's just an attack on logic.
Exactly, but then also you have the white Skittles that just came out, and they're also attacking that as well. So
they need to focus on something else, like maybe a little introspection.
Yeah.
Another story I have here is Jay-Z. I don't know, was he like a billionaire?
Before we get off PETA, what does PETA stand for?
The People for Ethical Treatment of Animals.
It actually stands for People Eating Tasty Animals.
Well, I agree. I didn't rise to the top of the food chain to become a vegetarian. Okay? That's how I look at it.
So there you go.
I honor my ancestors by not eating salad.
I saw someone with that shirt on the other day where it's PETA, and I was like, oh, PETA, and I got closer, I'm like, oh, people eating tasty animals. That works.
Well, they say, eat their flesh, wear their skin.
Keeps you warm. Feeds your belly.
Also, I found this on Jay-Z. The man has a troubled life. I mean, he's only like a multi-millionaire, and he was on...
I think he's getting close to a billionaire, Jay-Z is.
I don't know, but he was on some show. He backed Hillary, of course. Oh, he was on Real Time with Bill Maher, and he was complaining about the inequity in wages and the rich versus the poor. But yet he's just released a champagne line where the average bottle goes for $850. Now, I don't know about you, but I can't drink champagne that's worth $850. So, I mean...
Even if I did, I wouldn't drink it. Put up on top shelf, never drank.
So my point is that he's basically saying, I'm going to drink $850 bottle. I'm going to make and sell you $850 bottle of champagne, but you poor people can just keep drinking Ante Spumante and all that other stuff.
It's like the let them eat cake kind of person.
It's back to let them eat cake with cheap champagne.
So we had a comment from Sandy. Repeated radio bursts from a small galaxy 2.5 million years ago. So they're radio bursts.
Yeah, and that's how long it's taken for them to reach here. So if there was a civilization that had sent it, that means they've had to have survived another 2.5 million years.
Which is not likely. And also, did you guys hear about the white tax reported recently?
The white tax?
Not the black tax, A white
a
tax.
white tax on white people? Is that
Yes.
it? Wow. Good thing I'm Irish, I don't count. I'm a ginger. That's what I'm going to claim.
You're ginger?
I'm a ginger. And I'm going to claim ginger status.
So we're going to go ahead and I'll take a look at the white tax, but yeah, keep going ahead with it.
That's just
Well, another thing that I
ridiculous.
come up with, and you know, lately transgender has been in the news a lot, and it's really been in the headlines with all its problems and diversity, and it needs to go
There
away.
you go.
Oh, white men should pay 5% extra in taxes because they're privileged. Well, you know what? If anybody out there who knows me knows I'm not privileged, and I'm not paying that tax until I'm privileged, because right now I'm not privileged.
Yeah, we did a whole piece on Bernie Sanders where he says,
Well,
you know, if you're white, you don't know what it's like to be poor. And I went to my whole spiel. You know, I grew up, you know, decent, but there was times of poverty where you know, I grew up in. You know, I didn't always grow up in the best of neighborhoods or
Here's-
anything else like that. You
here's
know?
the thing that-
They're even saying non-straight white people have to pay 3.5%. So they're a little lower down.
Non-straight? Gay white men here even getting clipped in that one?
Yeah, gay white.
Oh,
men
then
get
they're
clipped
going to
in
cause
there.
an uproar.
Right.
But here's
And
the
if
thing.
you're-
Poverty in this country is not poverty. You know, that's the old Sally Struthers commercials where she's sitting there with a kid who's drinking water out of a creek that's an inch wide. He's got flies all over him, and his village is two huts with a piece of corrugated steel laying against it. That's poverty. Having $300 tennis shoes, an iPhone, playing an Xbox, sitting on your couch waiting for your check to show up is
That's
not poverty.
poverty.
No, it's not
Yeah,
poverty.
it's true.
I'm just wrong,
It's just wrong. Anyway, I want to go into this gender thing because it amazes me how it's gotten so bad. Yeah, this is also again from Heat Street, one of my favorite sites. This is Jillian. I wish they'd just have names
His
I could
site
pronounce.
is Heat Street. His site is Infowars. And our site's Zero Edge.
We all have our haunts, the
Our
places we
go-to
go.
site, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, a gender educator turned blogger is aghast that people would dare ask pregnant women about their baby's gender. Writing on the progressive parenting website Romper, Rika Pearl
great site.
bemoans that how even strangers are nosy about her pregnancy. That's common enough complaint, but the gender question especially sticks in her craw. She doesn't just consider it obnoxious, it's actually hurtful, damaging question, as well as an archaic and misogynistic one. She writes, not only does the question enforce arbitrary gender roles, Pearl says that, but it also reinforces the gender binary and confuses gender with sexual anatomy, sorry.
What is this?
Okay, first off, when I walk up to a woman and ask her, is she having a boy or a girl, I'm not being a misogynist pig.
Right.
I'm just curious as to her future happiness. Is
Well,
that
as
a
if
boy
she
or-
wasn't pregnant.
Well, then you're in a whole lot of different trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to really make sure they're pregnant before you ask.
Yeah, because I did that once before.
Yeah,
and it
that will
was-
get you in
It was
trouble.
embarrassing.
But no, I mean, this is how bad it's gotten. That you can't even ask a pregnant woman the gender of her child, whether it's just
Because you're a man?
no, because you're enforcing some arbitrary gender identity on.
Well, it was like that one thing that you said never mind.
Okay.
No, it's just I don't even know how to.
It's
I don't even know how to comment
Here's
on
the
it.
thing. I'm going to break this down a little bit. These arbitrary gender roles. First off, arbitrary gender roles. I'm sorry, maybe I'm old school, and I always harken back to the little clip from Kindergarten Cop. Some of you are a little too young to remember the
No, I
movie.
remember.
The kid gets up and he says, and I hate to say this, but this is only boys have a penis, girls have a vagina. That is how it works. Okay, there's no arbitrary gender rules
Right.
or roles. Either you're a boy or a girl. Okay, you may have a different sexuality. I'm cool with that. But if your plumbing says this, that's what you are. Now you may have trouble dealing with it. Fine.
Later on in life, but
work on it.
yeah.
Pearl describes herself as a genderqueer woman, surprise, who works as a therapist specializing in sex, gender, and sexual trauma. She also blogged last month about how she's parenting a gender-creative child who at age 7 already expresses strong preferences about personal pronouns. Okay, a 7-year-old does not express strong preferences about personal pronouns. That's her mom. The child's mom has influenced the child at 7 about not picking a gender. If you don't help them, you don't have to convince them that they're a boy or girl. They know what they're going to be.
Yeah, but now you're manipulating the small minds.
Yes, exactly.
You know?
She's manipulating her child to form an outcome she wants to happen. If she says, I'm going to raise my child gender neutral, and they grow up and they pick the opposite gender, it will be no surprise.
Right.
Because the kid's has been raised to be confused. When I grew up, my dad never said, you're a boy. He said, go do boy, and he didn't say go do boy stuff. You were just kind of expected
Go
to
play.
Go play and
Go
be
play.
yourself. And boys play with guns, girls play with dolls. Some girls play with...
Go ahead and read that from that. That's the University of California has like that group.
Is this going to make my head explode?
Yeah,
well, that's the dictionary for everything about, I guess, their
Lesbian,
stuff.
gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, which I don't understand that one. Asexual Resource Center.
This is the University of like California of Davis or something like that. But they released a whole dictionary on.
These are made up words. I'm sorry, these are made up words. They're made up.
That was posted from a college.
That one's not made up. I've actually seen that before. Yeah, this is just.
Okay.
It's all made up stuff. I'm not even gonna.
But what that's their phrase now is it's a LGBTQIA. I think that's their official one right now.
Yeah.
But
Alphabet soup.
There are others that
pretty
go
much.
farther in letters.
What else you got for us, George?
Let's see. It's the other one, and this one for all you fair religious people. This one's going to upset you. I'm not a religious man, but this upsets me, so I know it's going to bother the Christian community. A Christian student claimed A Christian student claims to have been suspended from Rawlings College after calling out his radical Muslim professor's remarks on Christianity, including that Jesus' crucifixion never happened. Okay, that's just the radicals pushing the envelope to just see what they can do before we break, and as soon as we start a fight, it's our fault.
Right.
Marshall Polston, a 20-year-old sophomore at Rawlings College in Florida, claims his Middle Eastern humanities professor, R.G. Zufri, made multiple anti-Christian comments in class, forcing him to openly challenge her. Other assertions alleged to have been made by the professor include her insistence that Jesus' disciples never thought of him as God. Okay, that's the whole Gospels, as far as I know. I mean, I'm not a big religious guy, but that's Jesus was the Son of God. Now you might be able to some people may
Apparently, it's this Muslim guy. He never
well, no,
existed.
because
it's not the religion.
it doesn't
so how
it doesn't
would he know?
jive with their
Yeah.
worldview. The student who traveled around the Middle East has keen interest in Muslim culture, told the Florida Post. It was very off-putting and flat-out odd. He says, I've traveled to the Middle East, lectured at I won't try to pronounce it, university, and immersed myself in Muslim culture for years. Honestly, it reminded me of some of the more radical groups I've researched when abroad. Whether religious or not, I believe those with limited knowledge of Christianity can agree that according to the text, Jesus was crucified and his followers did believe him to be divine, that he was God. Regardless, to assert to the contrary as an academic fact is not supported by the evidence. See, that's the thing. They say something outrageous and they make it sound like it's a fact. But if you dispute it, you're working from the world of make-believe. So
Right.
we have to stop this. This is insanity. Not just the radical Muslims, but it's the radical left, the atheists who are upset that money says "In God We Trust." Our culture has been under assault for 40 plus years. That's noticeably.
So-
We have to take a stand. Literally, we have to take a stand. It's time to just say, no, I'm not going to listen to your nonsense. I'm not going to put up with your craziness. You are going to either, I don't want to say conform, but you're just going to have, if you have different beliefs than shame. Yeah, shame.
No, and that's absolutely correct, George, because we are founded on the Judeo-Christian platform. You know, whether you like it or not, this is what we're founded on. And our values and our morals come from that. You know, and that's what makes us Americans.
But here's the kick in the teeth to this student who disagreed with his professor. He said he was understandably upset. He's never gotten anything less than he got a failing grade on a paper. He said, I've never gotten less than an A, straight A's. So he was kind of interested in figuring out why he got a bad grade. And and he thinks it's because he openly
Went against the teacher.
went against the professor.
You always do.
So what did the professor do? The professor reported the student to the dean of safety and canceled the class, claiming that he made her feel unsafe. See, that's what they do. Remember what I talked about a few, maybe a month or so ago?
Yes.
That when the liberals, when they're bullies, or especially those when they're a bully, if you
Fight back.
no, it's if you give in to their bulliness, it's because they're okay. But if you resist their bulliness, you make them feel unsafe.
Right. Now
So they play both sides of the argument. So
Disgusting.
basically, he objected to her outrageous claims. So she went and went to the dean and said he makes me feel unsafe, and they kick him out.
Well,
That's the safe spaces thing. They're using this whole safety thing again. I've noticed a lot lately that if someone feels or someone disagrees with you, they're like, he disagrees with me. He makes me feel unsafe. He might attack me for my views.
Right.
Then they turn the tide against the person who's just having open discourse. Yeah, it's going to get worse. It's going to come to an head. And here
it's going to be Huntington Beach.
Yeah,
you know,
It'll be worse than that.
times
No.
1,000.
Yeah, and they also said the student had to refrain from any contact with the professor.
And that's so ridiculous. But you see this when they protest and everything. You know, once their backs against the walls, they go and run to
Well,
the
they
cops.
have their tactics. Their tactics are, I'm going to say outrageous things. I'm going to antagonize you. I'm going to force you into a conflict.
Spray you in the face with pepper spray.
I'm going to force
hit
you
you over
to
the head with sticks. You
yeah,
know.
and then when you fight back, I'm going to claim it's your fault.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I'm going to go. And I'm going to use the law and all the liberal judges to hurt you for disagreeing with me.
The 10th Circus.
Yeah, so it's a tough time we're coming up to. I mean, this snowflake superstorm that I've heard, and I kind of enjoy the term, but this
I like it too,
Trump derangement syndrome that these people are so upset. Well, tough. You lost. We won. Learn a better campaign next time. But,
Right. Get somebody else.
But that's how they couldn't win honestly. So now they're going to subvert everybody via the court system.
Exactly. Through the quote unquote legal
Yeah,
system.
and they're just gonna block everything and stop.
They're
it.
just going to be trouble until someday somebody's going to
Like we'll talk about next week about the Gorsuch thing or Gorsuk.
Gorsuch.
Where you come up with that one? Gorsuch.
It's a tough name. I've had to practice it.
Gorsuch.
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 Gorsuk.
Okay, Lance. Anyways, again, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, so much for joining us tonight. Again, take the stand for liberty. Check out our website, www.thestandshow.com. Again, support us. Put that out there. And the the store's up now, so you can purchase the shirts. Help support us, because we do need that support. And send this link out. Also, share, like, and support all our videos, because that's the only way, again, we're going to grow and hopefully get out the information to everybody else.
Mostly just tell your friends, have them just come by and take a look, see if they like what we have to say. And the more people that you talk and tell about us, and they'll do the same. And pretty soon, maybe we can change this tide of lunacy that we're all fighting. I mean, right now we're pushing the ocean back with a broom, and it's tough. But
It's
we
very
all,
tough.
I mean, the thing is, yeah, we're the stand, but we all have to stand together.
Right, exactly.
'Cause,
Because it's not just me, it's not just George. It's everybody who loves freedom, liberty, and humanity.
If
you
you're
know?
sitting at home and you're thinking, yeah, it's terrible out there, things are not going the way they should be, go get involved. One thing a week. Go find a candidate you like and help them. Go, just spread the word. Just spread the word however you can. If everybody did one thing a week, we could make a difference, and maybe we can push back the socialists that are trying to take over our country and our culture and our way of life.
Exactly. And, support us, man, because that's the only way we're going to grow. I mean, we have all this equipment stuff. We want to get better. We want to get a bigger crew. And just start growing from there. And hopefully, like George said, instead of a broom, maybe we can have a bulldozer or something.
What?
Well, yeah, I know what he's trying to say. But yeah, if we all stand together, we stand a chance of stopping this cancer that's in our country right now. That is hell bent. That's hell bent on controlling us, taking away our freedoms, and telling us how to live our lives.
Plain and
This
simple.
is why America was created.
a land of rugged individuals. That's also our downfall, because we don't get together and lock arms like the libs do.
Right.
They defend each other no matter
Tooth
what.
and nail.
And you're
Yeah.
not alone, folks. For
Yeah,
those
just
who are
that's
watching, you are not alone. You know, we could be your voice if you guys choose to be. But again, you know, you're not alone. So there are many patriots and freedom lovers out there. But you know, the left always makes it feel like we're always alone. But you're not alone. You know, because I felt that way for the longest. You know, I was like, man, why am I the only one who thinks this way? But here I am. I'm sitting with two people who love America, freedom, and are great patriots to the nation. So I couldn't be happier. You know, fighting the fight, and it makes me feel alive. It makes me feel like I have a purpose. So yeah, I don't know. Just support us, folks. That's one thing I can say. Again, so Shane, Lance, and Dobbs with the stand.
Shane, Lance, and Dobbs.
I don't know why I say that.
He did that last time.
I did that last time.
Shane, Lance, and Dobbs.
George, that's me over here.
Yeah,
That's
got
Don
the
over
guys.
there.
Sorry. Anyways, getting
Yeah, we're
tired.
pretty light here.
Yeah. Anyways, getting tired. But anyways, take the stand for liberty. God bless you and God bless America.